everyone. Welcome to Yachting International Radio. You're with Karlien from the Crew Coach on the Wellbeing project. I have Karlien with us today. She is a nominee for the Acrew Awards for Junior Crew, and we're just going to have a little chat about what that means to Karlien and her experience so far in the industry and any knowledge or insights that she can impart with us so that we can have some great takeaways that we can apply in our own life, perhaps. And yeah, so firstly, welcome, Karlien. So lovely for you to be here with us. And I've heard so many positive things about you.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks for having me. Same. I mean, this is my first time of doing an interview like this, and I feel in a little safe space with you.
Oh, I'm so pleased. That's so good. And you've got nothing to be afraid of. It's just a conversation and it's really, really relaxed. So firstly, congratulations as well, or maybe secondly, congratulations. Lovely to see your face on the Acrew nominations. Can you tell me a bit about that? Like, was it a surprise for you to be nominated?
Thank you. Thank you. It was a huge surprise. I did not expect something like that at all. I still feel a little bit green, never mind Junior Crew. It feels like I've only been doing this for a year now. And yeah, very unexpected, but very, very honored to be chosen. Yeah.
So special. So just to give some of our listeners context, if they haven't seen any previous interviews or know what we're doing, I believe in equal votes. And I think it's so important to have an opportunity to get to know the individual behind the award, because we should be voting based on values. I think that's so important. And these are positive role models that we have in our industry. And it's about lifting one another up. I don't think there's a winner or a loser. I believe there's so many other crew out there that should have been nominated as well that we are yet to meet, hopefully in the future. But I just want to provide that opportunity for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better so that they can make a well-informed decision. So one of the criteria is attitude and team spirit. What does that mean to you?
Especially being on board, you know, it's a small space. It's where you live, it's where you work, it's where you are with your crew and the guests around. So it just means to me that having a positive attitude, trying most of the time, you know, being not being a Debbie Downer, you know, you don't want to bring the rest of the crew down as well. So just trying to be positive every time and having a uplifting attitude, you know, trying to keep everyone going. And it's very important on a small space like this because it's very easy to get down and, you know, with everything going around and it's long hours and it's hard to get in a negative hit, or it's easy to get in a negative headspace. So trying to stay positive is quite, and you know, putting a smile on your face, and everyone around as well. And with our little crew, we're 4 on board. So with such a small amount of crew, it's easy to, if someone feels a bit down, it's very easy to rub off on one another. So we're quite good at lifting each other up, or you know, sorting something out as soon as we realize something's wrong. I think that's quite important as well.
Okay, so how do you do that? Because sometimes people get stuck in a rut and they're in a negative headspace. So how do you take yourself out of it and lift people up? If you had to share a skill or something that other people, our listeners, could do on board their own yacht.
Well, we talk to each other firstly. It's I think it's very important because you have no idea what that person is going through or what's going on in that person's mind. So we address the situation head on, and even if that person doesn't feel like talking about it, or if you can just see something's wrong, our captain will just say, just take 2 hours, go off board, you know, go take a swim, go take a run, just do something to make you positive. Go shop if that's what makes you feel better. But just do something that makes you feel out of that space. I don't know. It's very hard because you come from different cultures, different backgrounds. You handle things in a different situation, so it's important to know your person, and it's quite hard. It's a difficult answer.
Especially when you've got competing priorities like guests to attend to, and then to focus on your peers and actually connect with them if they are struggling, instead of going, oh, I'll sort that, I'll ask them later. I've got so much to do. But it only takes a couple of minutes to actually check in, and then you can just follow up and say, well, I've got some time off tonight. I'll come into your cabin. Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
Good. So it sounds like you've got team spirit on board.
We definitely do. We definitely do. But it's not just one crew member. It's all of us. You know, if it helps a lot. I think I got very lucky with my crew. Yeah.
Oh, so tell us, in terms of advice for senior crew on how they can take care of junior crew or pay attention to their needs and be more supportive. Being fresh, in terms of being new to the industry, what advice or knowledge could you share with heads of departments on how they can be more supportive to junior crew?
Well, I think the most important thing is I've had experience with a head that they expected you to know things, and you don't, and you have no clue how to. I don't even know example to use, but they expect you to know things, and when you don't, they quite
short,
dumb. Yeah. So I think for me, with my captain, he explains everything so perfectly before I'm doing something, almost to the point of annoying me, and that helps so much. You know, just to know why you are doing something and not just how to do it is a big thing. So I think not expecting green crew to know things and going through with them, explaining. I know sometimes they don't have the time and all those things, but it really helps, especially if you're coming in fresh and you don't have an idea. So that's what really helped me on my boat with my captain, is he's so good at explaining things and you know, telling me why I'm doing this and making sure I understand and checking that I know how to do it before putting me in the position of doing something. Yeah.
So important. It goes such a long way when you can make time for your crew to guide, coach, and mentor, because it's not only going to help that individual, but it's going to help the overall operations of the yacht.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are your future plans with regards to your career?
Oh, they're all over the place. So I came in to this industry. I didn't really know where I was going with this. I just knew it was something I wanted to do the moment I knew about it, because I've never heard of this in my life. I'm 28 in a week, and I heard about this lot the year before I started, and I was like, this I want to do. So I didn't really plan ahead, but now I had quite a time to, you know, get a slight plan. So by the end of this year, I will do my Yacht Masters when I'm back home in South Africa. And I'm also planning on doing my Dive Masters. So I've got a 3-month internship lined up in Mozambique. Maybe it's a 50-50. And I'm excited for getting that on my CV. And hopefully I'm a deck stew position at this moment. And I know my captain won't mind me saying this because we talk about this all the time, but I really want a deck position. Those that know me know that, that I really despise working interior, but on this boat with the owners and the crew, it's not something I really hate on this boat, but it's not something I want a career in. Big up to the girls that do. I don't know how they do it. I've got so much respect for stews. They are amazing. But so for me, for now, my yacht masters is priority, and then a dive masters to get on my CV. And I really enjoy diving. I've got my open water, and we'll see from there.
Good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's great that you can be excited. And what I love is that you know what you want and you know what you don't want. And I think so often as individuals, we get so confused when we've got all these offers or possibilities and we're like, oh, I don't know. But it's so lovely to hear that you're very clear about what you do want so you can pursue your goals with confidence. So Karlien, I'd love to know, how did you get in the industry in terms of your first job? Because I know a lot of our listeners are green crew and a large number are in South Africa who are looking to get into the industry. And yeah, the idea of dock walking can be quite daunting and they are stuck in South Africa. So really hard to get to Europe and look for work. Any pieces of advice to them, and also to, if you don't mind sharing your experience around how you got your first position on board?
My first few months was a roller coaster because I was a trainer and manager, a personal trainer and manager in my previous job for 3 years, and in a small little town that I studied in. So I've been living there for about 10 years maybe, and I was just, over it. I got onto YouTube. I started searching. I think I wanted to go teach English in Taiwan or something. And I got sidetracked by watching sailing videos, because that's something I wanted to get into. And then a Jared Watney video popped up. I think he's a nominee and he's an Acrew winner before.
Yeah.
Videos popped up about how to become a Yachtie, and I started researching that day and night. And I think the first person I reached out to, I put a hashtag in female deckhand or something like that. And the first person I reached out to was Holly, I think Holly Roberts. Yeah. And it was just amazing the way she helped me. And, she just told me, send me your number and I'll send you a voice note. And that's what she did. And she helped me like where to start, where to look for accommodation. It was crazy because there's no handbook or anything that tells you this when you try and get into the industry. It's like a whole gray area. So she got me started. And a month after I gave my 6 months notice, and the next year, January, I did my courses. This was last year. February, I came over. Everyone told me, my instructors, my mates that were doing the courses with me, they told me I'm coming too early, I won't get a job. But I came, I just followed my gut.
Good.
And 2 weeks after the pandemic hit, and it was lockdown in France, and we couldn't dock walk, and all the agencies closed, and it was just chaos. We were about 30 people in the crew house, maybe a little bit less, and with no jobs, and everyone was panicking. All the yachts were not taking any crew. It was chaos. But there were 1 or 2 agencies that still saw people, and I remember this as clear as day. 11 o'clock at night, 2 of my Aussie friends, 2 18-year-old boys, they came into the room and told me they've got a ticket to North Europe, there's not even an ocean where we were going, but we're going for 2 weeks day work. And I was like, how is this possible? The next morning, 8 o'clock, we were off to a big 100-meter plus boat to go day work on this boat. As soon as we arrived there, lockdown, at least we had a job. So two weeks ended up being 2 months, and my visa ran out. So I had to come back to France. It was insane. It was really, I never knew what the next day was going to bring. So came back to France. I heard I could apply for extension, tried applying for the extension. Went to a coffee shop, got my coffee, and the barista's like, what are you doing here? And I'm telling him this long story about what I'm trying to do, but I have to go home now because my visa expired. Everyone told me I came too early. Now this pandemic, it was crazy. So he's like, but there was just a captain here, and he's looking for someone as well, so I can give you his email, maybe hit him up. I sent him the mail. He replied instantly and said, I'm meeting you tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock for your interview. I met him 11 o'clock and we had the interview. An hour after the interview, he called, okay, can you come with me to Italy next week for your trial week? I said, well, my visa is expiring tomorrow, so I don't know. I told him this in our interview as well, because that was the only thing holding me back. And he said, okay, well, by tomorrow morning this time, if you don't hear anything back, I'm sorry I can't take you, but I would really like to. Yeah. So the morning came and I heard nothing. I went to go sit in the shower and I had like this moment of, if there's a God, please let this call come through. And I was crying and I have to go home now. And I kid you not, 20 minutes after that, the call came through. I had my visa, I had my job. It was a crazy roller coaster, but that was it in short.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah. So first interview and it happened. So I'm really, really blessed. Yeah.
That is fantastic. I think I was your age. I'm 37 or 38 now. I think I'm 37, but your age when I went into the industry. And a lot of my jobs I got was through networking. And that would be one of my pieces of advice to green crew. The other thing is exactly what you mentioned. Follow your gut, your intuition, because I promise you, I've bolted, or there hasn't been a disaster as a result of me following my gut. And I don't. Do you know Suicide Gorge in Cape Town? Yes. So I snapped my vertebra jumping off that mountain and got airlifted out. And I had just done my SCCW 95 in Cape Town. And I had to stay in South Africa for another 6 weeks before flying to Australia. And I got a job lined up while I was in South Africa. And the captain, I didn't get sent a contract or anything, not even a flight booked for me. I had to pay for it for myself. But I took about 4 flights to get to Ancona. And I arrived at that airport at midnight and there was no one there. No one could speak English. And I'm like, oh, what have I done? Oh my gosh, I've made the biggest mistake. And then the chief officer came to pick me up. Maybe he was like 20 minutes late or something like that. And I'll never forget waiting in the car park. It was a full moon and it was the start of an amazing adventure. And I haven't looked back. Wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah, definitely. I've never followed my gut as much as I do now, and it's just helped me all the way. And I agree with you that I forget the word every time, but connecting with crew, even with the barista from a coffee shop, everyone, especially in a little yachting hub like Antibes, everyone knows everyone, and
someone knows a captain that needs a crew, or so definitely connecting with the people around you is the biggest advice I have to. Yeah,
and also your personal brand is so important. So you could go to the hop store and get loose, and you never know who's watching you, and they might see you dock walking the next day and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you. So like something to be mindful of as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Karlien, so lovely to connect with you, and I wish you all the very best for the nominations and the rest of your season and for your future ambitions and life dreams. I have no doubt you'll be a great success.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.